I would say that unquestionably, I am an American, born there. My father slaved there. Upon the backs of my people was developed the primary wealth of America. The primary wealth. You have to have accumulated wealth to start, to build. You did it another way here in Australia. You had to build your accumulated wealth too. You just came and took it. You know what I mean? And that's what they did in most of the countries. That's what you Europeans did. You just took it. We got to catch up with you a little bit.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Dr. Soul Brother again with some more remedies to help cure you of your ills. For some of you who might not be aware, that was the great, I won't call him the late, but that was the great Paul Robeson, who happened to be one of my heroes, somebody I've known about since I was about 10 years old. Um, and I played that little snippet. I wish I could play more, but I don't want to get a strike. I played that snippet so that it ties into my subject matter. I want to discuss a woman, a young white woman by the name of Lilly Gaddis, who was recently on Piers Morgan show with Mark Lamont Hill, this other woman I can't remember her name, and that fool Frisch and Fit clown of Somalian background. I'm not going to go too deep into that show. For those of you who have not seen it, I would encourage you to check that show out and give it your own critique. And I must say, to Piers Morgan's everlasting credit, um, he showed in this moment some integrity. You have to see the show for yourselves in case you haven't seen it. But here's what I want to dive into. See, for a while now, there's been this notion that if the younger set of white folks come on the scene, they're going to be a lot different than their parents who came before them. Well, we discovered how that's turned out for us. And I think the record speaks for itself, especially what you see going on right now. This woman, not clear of her age, but she's clearly relatively young, is an avowed and unapologetic racist. She claims white folks are victims of systematic anti white hatred. Imagine that. Pick up on that for a moment. She claims white folks are victims of systematic anti white hatred. Nothing could be further from the truth. First of all, that doesn't even exist. But according to her, that's what she said. But you see, we got to understand something. She is not by herself. She's not an anomaly. There are others of that ilk, especially given the climate that we're in right now. As I said, an unapologetic. She's unapologetically racist, and this is something that she clearly embraces. So, and then she goes on to say that America is our country. Let's be clear. When white folks say our country, that's at the exclusion of others. Black folks, Asians, Latinos, in other words, with the exclusion or at the exclusion of non-whites. That's clear. So they're not being inclusive at all. Well, I got news for you, Miss Lady. This is our country. And we, as Mark Lamont Hill pointed out, we built this place. We built America. And I don't know anything about her background in terms of how long her ancestors, when her ancestors arrived in the United States. They could have been here during the slave era, or they could have been here, um, arriving at Ellis Island. I don't know, but it really, in a sense, doesn't matter because you are here benefiting. Your people have benefited from what black folks have, black folks' blood, sweat, and tears. My ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears are soaked in the very fabric of America, and you are here benefiting. And for you to say that you prefer not to live around black people, your motivation is clearly a racist one. Why do I say that? See, you say you don't want to live around black folks because we commit crime and we commit crime more than other people. There's no question that black folks commit crime. Nobody will deny that. But what you're not going to do, Miss Gaddis, is get on social media or any other speaking place and suggest that we commit more crimes than anybody else. But unfortunately, you, as well as others, have been listening to old boy from Fresh and Fit, who is clearly anti-black. The what's his name there, Brandon Tatum, others of that ilk, Larry Elder, others of that ilk, who they what they try to do, they gaslight their own people. And you're so racist, Miss Lady, you get off on that. You get off on that. And see, I need us to understand something, fam. Lily Gaddis is the female version of Richard Spencer. You know, the alt right guy? Oh, yeah. She's the female version of him. And um, she claims as a Christian, pick up on it. Now, everybody's full of religion now. She purports to be a Christian. Boy, you ain't my kind of Christian. You ain't my kind of Christian at all. In fact, let's be clear. Her form of Christianity is in concert with the slave owners on the plantation. And let's be clear, those on the plantation who were of the faith, like Harriet Tubman, like Nat Turner, and others, and even those in our own lineage, they weren't worshiping the same God. That's clear. And as John Henry Clark said, Jimmy Swagger's God couldn't possibly be mine. Well, guess what, Lily Gaddis? Your God sure ain't mine. Um, and she claims, as a Christian, not to see us as less human. Well, who you think you're talking to? You see us as beneath you. And I'm gonna tell you something. Um, for too long now, for a little while, these black imps, the April Chapmans, the Brandon Tatums, the Larry Elders, and unfortunately, there are a bunch of others. There's too many to even mention right now. As a result of social media, uh, white folks have been enjoying it. As a man said to me, white folks never had it so good. Okay, that's where we're at right now. See, that was more real, I think, even he realized. But that's what we've come to. So, um, people like that are around and they're dangerous. They create problems, and that day is done of tolerating you. Telling you right now, Miss Gaddis, you are full of it. And as far as old boy from Fresh and Fit, he's a straight up coon. Yeah, I know people don't like that kind of language. I don't care. No, he's a coon, a straight up coon, a clown. Okay? And I'm gonna tell you something. Folk better be lucky that these folks were not around back, let's say, 100 years ago, because they'd have been dealt with. Black folk back then had a way of checking folks in ways that unfortunately we've gotten away from. We've gotten away from. There's no way that folks of this ilk would have been allowed to talk crazy like that about their own kind. No. Mm-mm. But no, what has happened is this present social and political climate has emboldened some of these folk to get on TV, social media, etc., and speak ill. And I mean, think about it. What's the difference between her outlook and the outlook of a Bull Connor down in Alabama, Governor Wallace in Alabama, and other parts during the Civil Rights Movement? What's the difference? There is none. That's the point. The only difference is a different era. That's it. So they're the same. And so for people to think that, well, this younger generation, they're not going to be like their foreparents. Well, we know that's a bunch of bull pucky. We know that. That's not true. You remember the brother who, I forget what state he was in, when he was either going to his car, he was coming from his car, going to his car, something. He'd either checked into the motel or went to his car for something. And there were a bunch of young white folks running, cruising, looking for a black person to jack up. And just his bad luck, he was the person that they got a hold of, beat him up, then got in their vehicle, backed up, and then ran over him. My only hope is that he died instantly, that he didn't suffer. But I'm saying that to say these are young white folks who did this. And this was while President Barack Obama was in office. That's when this happened. So that informed me, if nothing else, that things had not really changed and that the presidency of Barack Obama, whether you like Barack Obama or not, agree, disagree with his politics, that's beside the point. The point is that riled folks up. Just the fact that you had this black family that was in the White House, that got on their nerves, that bothered them, it offended them. And then here we come and get a straight up lunatic into the White House in 2016. He loses in 2020 and then comes back with a vengeance in 2024. And it's not an accident that all this is happening against his presidency, against the backdrop of his presidency, I should say. And also, while these clowns like the Candace Owens, that's the other one I was thinking about, I couldn't remember her name, the Candace Owens and others of that ilk, who unfortunately are great influencers. And when I say great, I don't mean in a positive sense. They've been influencers on social media that these folks have become, white folks that is, have become more and more emboldened with their racist bullcrap. And I'm telling to the young people who are under the sound of my voice, get it together. Get it together. Do as much research as you possibly can. Learn to embrace your heritage and history in these United States. It's important. Go back and look at documentaries like Eyes on the Prize. Go back and look at movies if you can find them. With there was a movie, um, oh Lord, Danny Glover, pardon me, and Alfred Woodard played Nelson and Winnie Mandela in a movie. I think it was called Mandela. Um, it came on HBO back in 1987. Try to find that movie. Try to look at Cry Freedom with Denzel Washington playing the great freedom fighter Stephen Biko. I encourage you to look at those films because with um, these white folks who are Afrikaners coming into America, they're gonna bring that mess over here, and we're gonna have a problem. Okay, we're gonna have a problem. And I want someone to try to show me how we don't have a problem right now, and that black folks are gaslighting and we're playing the victim and all this kind of stuff. All that is a setup for those to demonize black folks and then justify us being receiving ill treatment. And so, in closing, Lilly Gaddis is a dangerous broad. She's a dangerous white broad. She is on the same sheet of music as a Richard Spencer who represents the alt right. Okay, they're cut from the same cloth. So anybody who would listen to them and who would embrace them and defend them, you are truly out of your mind. You need to be put in a straitjacket, and that's real talk. So on that note, I'm going to end it here. I just felt it was important to address this real quick, but I want to close it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I need your support. Um, please respond what you like, dislike, and any ideas you have. Matter of fact, if anyone can help me try to do a live stream when I can engage some of y'all, that would be very helpful. So, with that, I'm going to end it here. And until the next time, God bless.